So good evening. On behalf of the International Relations Office Academy in Hellenic Mediterranean University, we would like to welcome you on this lecture session in the context of the course that we run, Soft Skills and Research Skills Development. So it's a habit in this course to invite people from abroad, people that our students and our participants through the Athena European University and through the Hellenic Mediterranean University International Relations Office, they can hear. It's always nice to hear, topics from from other colleagues from different places, different countries. It's a part of the cultural intelligence barriers that we would like to lower them in order to promote our collaboration. So I would like to thank Dr. Ana Barata from the ICEP, the School of Engineering in IPP in Portugal, for her kind contribution to be here with us and share with us a presentation that's like, in this course, it's more than a presentation, it's a discussion presentation. It's more a relaxed module in order to share opinion and share ideas in order to give the main tips to the students and to the participants regarding the impact of the soft skills and research skills later on. So Anna is going to talk to us about teamwork and communication in engineering. Anna is an adjunct professor in ISEP. She is there, however, she looks very young, 20 years, and teach, the students over there. And her expertise is languages, communication, project management related trainings. So we are here to listen to you, Anna. Anna will use the next, I will say, 1 hour and a half, or how much time she would like to have, an hour, and then we will continue with another colleague from Israel that is going to speak about digital literacy, to speak to our students and our participants, how to share documents, how to use Google Drive, and other kind of things. So for the time being, let's enjoy Anna. And Anna, the floor is yours, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for this invitation. It's really a pleasure to be able to share some of my insights and connections that I've been making for the last couple of years with everything that we have been living as far as communication is concerned, and also my experience with working with students mainly in this project development related course units. So thank you very much for everything. Of course, it would be much better to be able to see everybody, but I know that for some of you, you have these internet constraints and so on. So I'm not going to force that, nor try to make you just open your cameras. But I would like to start by listening to your voices before I share my screen. So I invite you all to open the microphones and say hello in your own languages at the same time, and let's see what will come out.
Yes,
everybody can open the microphones. I think that half of them are not listening, otherwise they would be opening.
Buonasera a tutti in Italian. Buonasera. Good evening.
My God.
Hello and good evening.
Hola, buenos días.
Boa tarde. Bom dia, boa tarde.
Boa tarde.
Hello, good evening.
Bonjour à tous.
مساء الخير.
Ahoy.
Good evening.
Kalispera.
Guten Abend.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Thank you very much. I think that this is the first start of any communication interchange, is to greet people, to say hello, even if we don't understand each other's language straightforwardly. This is also something that we understand directly. Well, so I believe that now I can share the screen, and of course, forgive me for the diverse moves that might happen if I'm not immediately aware of the place where I am, or what's at the moment you are watching the work environment of my computer with one of my favorite places in Portugal, but it's not that it's supposed for you to be watching. So let's get started. And to start, although I already have an idea of where you are from, I'd like to know it precisely. And this would be quite a challenge to check. I'm also kind of testing some new tools and the way of using them. So I would ask you just to try to go to this link that you can see on the top of your screen now and use this code over there and try to pin on the picture the place where you are from. It's supposed, so it might work or not, all right? Consider this a trial. Let's see if it's possible to see this, because these are, you have already some blue pins over there. Did you manage to get to the link? That's the first question. Oh, yep, there is one there, a big blue spot over there. Was it you, Pietro? Yes.
Yes, it's me, of course. I'm very quick.
From Italy.
Fix.
Okay.
I think, Pietro, it was me that I placed the pin. It's over Greece. Italy is, Pietro.
No.
So more than one over there. See,
yeah.
And then nice.
I will conquer all Europe. Wait.
Yeah. Italy. Oh, great. And someone is also very good. So see, this was my first trial with this setting of the of pinning up the maps. So it's another way, although we are at distance, not facing each other, and also, well, not being able to look at each other's faces and trying to guess where we are from, just the way we look. And of course, this could lead us into a stereotyping discussion, but that's not the purpose. But we can actually see how it's possible to interact and find a little bit more of places we are from in the audience. Well, thank you so much for this. It's so more or less 9 people there as well, of course, in Central Europe, 10, 5. Great.
Sorry, we just have to click, right? Because I'm
yes,
trying.
Just click. And if you click many times, it will come out as 10 people.
Be careful, because Pietro has conquered the whole Europe. Be careful.
Yeah, that's right.
Of course.
Well, thank you very much. So it's also an idea that you can use when you are preparing some exercise or something that might be interesting for your audience. So, and it keeps on, you can keep on with it, but let's move forward. Well, I come from Porto, as Professor Petridis referred to you, and I enjoy very much saying that I actually come from the city of the bridges in Portugal. And the symbol that the bridge portrays in itself, it has everything to do what we are doing, both with the Athena University and what Professor Petridis, as far as I understood, is generally working in this class, with making connections, developing skills, being able to connect and people in different areas of the world, in different places. And of course, why is Porto special in this? Because there isn't only one bridge, there are 6, like you can see on this picture over there, right? And bridges were invented by human beings to build, to unite. They might also be seen as symbols of empowerment, development, of moving forward, but also of this connection of both past and the future. So we are somewhere in the middle of the bridge in the present, and we can move backwards and forwards and be together. All right. And then there is this other detail, is that they require engineer skills to be built, right? So they require designers, constructors, and a massive amount of skills and individuals that I can't even number at this moment, all of them, right? So they actually contribute for human beings to be closer and to closer to each other, of course, and also to move around. And well, recently I've had this great opportunity to visit Heraklion, and I was in this amazing museum where I've found some really excellent and ingenious artworks that were developed years before Christ. On the left, it was actually a picture that I took. I hope, you are watching my screen, aren't you? Yep, okay,
Yeah.
sorry. And the other two I took from the web that represent very first gadgets, not very well said this word, but equipments that actually intended and were successful in that intention to for people to exchange messages, both during wartime and rebellion, but also in times of peace. So, and these are Greek engines, all right, very ancient ones from the and that are exhibited over there. Well, but what does this has to do with what we are starting to talk about a little bit today? Well, by then, we didn't call the ones that designed and built these equipments engineers, but weren't they already engineers in this? So this leads me to a question, to the second question that I would like to ask you and make you think of. What is actually an engineer? And now you can open the microphones and talk. What is actually an engineer?
I think an engineer is someone that can apply theoretical knowledge and solve problems that they have an impact to the society. This is independent. I'm a natural scientist, so sometimes, I'm proposing solutions that, is interest, for very few people, or, that do not have, a direct application. But an engineer, I think that it's someone that can solve issues that they are directly linked with the daily life, daily applications, facilitate people's work and life, something like this.
Well, thank you, Professor.
Kostas, my name is Kostas Salieri. Kostas.
No, I was also. And Besar, you want to say something, please?
Yes, also an engineer can be professionals who invent or design, also analyze.
Professionals that invent, design, analyze,
or something.
And thank you. So linked to what Kostas has just said, yes. There was this, I just recalled one of the objects that was there, and it was this old robot in the museum, sorry, that was in the museum. There was this old this very tall, like human-like robot with all these mechanisms, and the purpose of that human-like statue was to pour drinks. So one hand would get to the front, the other would actually pour tea or water or wine. And this was, let's see, the very beginning of robotics, and probably some people by then didn't see the usefulness of that, but the fact is that at the moment we have even more complex and also simple robots and machines doing similar things to all of this, right?
Anna,
Yep.
can I propose, Leonardo da Vinci is like the best example of an engineer.
Of course,
He had the vision also in the future, so it's a very nice.
Yes, that's it. Very, very, yeah. I'm using this example because it was very recent and I didn't know about it. And so it kind of puzzled me and made an impression. And so that's why I kept it and brought it to this subject. Well, the Merriam-Webster dictionary actually has this very straightforward definition and lots of 4 different definitions for the noun engineer. And as you can see, we can pick up the common one. So a designer, it's a person, of course, that engineers, it's a professional. So as Bessar referred, it's a professional that cares and that takes care of the work so that might make a difference in the world and bring new solutions to solve human beings' problems, right? But it's also a verb. Engineer, it's also a verb that implies acting, implies changing, designing, conceiving, producing, and modifying, regardless of the specific field that he or she is acting on, okay? And then all this leads me again to the connections and to the assumptions that we make, that we live today as if communication between people was undeniable. And by looking at this picture, that from my point of view, it's a very strong one because has all these lines put around the world. It's like if the earth was something that was knitted or wired within itself, and at the same time it's full of energy and coming out from all these connections, all these ties and links, not only of people but of places. But something that it's also very, from my point of view, to reflect on is that although this image actually brings all these ideas of being linked together, are really people closer together? It's like a teasing question. What is more important to you? Is it yourself and your connection with the others? Is it your mobile phone as an individual equipment, or is it for you a window open to the world, right? How do you use these immense amount of possibilities that the wired communications and wireless communications have brought to the world? And what is the role of cooperation in all this process? Okay, and of course, in the middle of this, what is the role of an engineer these days? And what are the essential skills that an engineer must have to actually work for what you have referred before, for these new solutions, for helping people improving, for developing facilities? Well, that's what I would like you now to think of a little bit. You may take your time. I'm just trying to see if my next exercise opens. We are going to use a Mentimeter again, but now with a different structure. So if you access it, I believe you will get access to 2 different fields. You can write 2 words and then click enter, and you can do that the number of times that you wish. And hopefully your answers will start appearing here on the screen. Let's see. So what are the skills in this world that an engineer must have? Nice, and see what the majority think. Only 4 have answered, right? There were more than 4 here, now 6. Great. Resilience. Oh, it's very balanced. Haha. Now 12, okay. Nice. Empathy. Knowledge. Creativity. More ideas? Wow, very nice. So what do you think what is the winner skill from what we are watching on the screen?
Can you repeat the question?
What is the winner skill? The
the bigger the letters.
Yeah, the bigger the letters, the more people believe in it. All right. So the winner is, at the moment, any no.
Problem solving.
Problem solving. Okay. The winner is problem solving. Very, very good. Very good. It's really very, at least at the moment, everything is working, right? Well, but why are these skills relevant? All of the ones that you refer there, like language skills, presentation skills, critical thinking, of course, the winner, problem solving, communication skills, being able to cooperate and interact with the others, all of those are essential. But the question is, why is it so important for an engineer to have more and more than ever, all this set of characteristics? And of course, because this set of characteristics is what makes a person, a human being, and someone that is studying on the field, a good professional and a good engineers. Well, for that, I found some help with not only Katie Crashwell, that referred very briefly that engineers are expected to serve all people. And we are not referring to only one branch of engineering, but engineers in general. And that our planet actually needs them more than ever, right? And I found an excellent help to tell you about this in the video that I invite you to watch in a moment. In 1, 2, yep, here. Let me just check something. Are you watching? Are you listening to the sound as well?
We can watch, but please stop sharing your screen. And when you share it again, there is an option on the left.
I want you to certify that.
Share the sound. My greetings to Pino. My respect.
Well, so far, no one has fallen asleep. Have you?
Hi, Daniele.
Hello. So, take two.
Once upon a time, business as usual was often good enough. No more. Where we are going, good enough is dead. In a world where everything is connected, where everything is equally excellent, where performance is reaching perfection, there's only one space left to innovate in: you. Right now, you are a central point in the raging tornado of change fueled by digitization, mobilization, augmentation, disintermediation, automation. Well, the list goes on. Science fiction is becoming science fact. Think about self-driving cars or computers that can learn and think. The way we work will never be the same. The skills we need will be dramatically different. Winning or losing are now happening faster than ever before. So what's your response? How will you discover new opportunities in one of the most transformational times in human history? Are you driving change, or are you being driven by it? Disruption has become the new normal. With change, it's always gradually, then suddenly, well, things really have stopped happening gradually. This change is exponential. Everything that used to be dumb and disconnected is now wired and intelligent. Cars, cities, ports, farms, even our bodies will be wired with sensors and will talk to each other. These game changers are also combinatorial. They amplify each other, creating a perfect storm of change. Quantum computing fuels big data. The Internet of Things fuels artificial intelligence and deep learning, which fuels robotics. However, anything that cannot be digitized or automated will become extremely valuable. Human-only traits such as creativity, imagination, intuition, emotion, and ethics will be even more important in the future, because machines are very good at simulating, but not at being. Yes, robots and software will do some of our work, but this will allow us to focus on things that cannot be automated. To imagine change squared, you've got to start engaging more with what might be, not just with what is. Immerse yourself in the immediate future, 5 to 7 years out from today. We need to go beyond technology and data to reach human insights and wisdom. Technology represents the how of change, but humans represent the why. The future is about holistic business model. The opportunity is to be liquid, to learn just in time, not just in case, not single improvements, but complete transformations, not individual systems, but new ecosystems. Humanity is where true and lasting value is created. We will engage, relate, and buy things because of the experiences they provide, because of their transformative power. The future doesn't just happen. The future gets happened. The new way to work is to embrace technology, but not to become it. The future is in technology, yet the bigger future lies in transcending it. Let's live and lead from here.
Well, this make us think, or what? Let's see, Malwina, what was the first thing that came to your mind when you were watching the video? Hello, Malwina? No? What about you, Safa? Laszlo? Anyone?
Can I tell what I was thinking?
Yes,
Go ahead,
Kostas,
Kostas.
please.
Yeah, I was thinking that before, when we vote like conventional people, problem solving. But engineers is not just problem solving; are innovators. They create the technology. They are not passive. They are active. So they generate problems that they are going to be the solutions. They are going to be needed. So I will say, like, innovation minds and disruptive minds are people that they are not addressing only current problems, but they can see in the future So I think that before we miss, like, I think that, you know, the best answer on this, in order to address the video, like, this is what I was thinking, is like disruptive and innovative minds.
Yeah, that's very good. I was trying to pick some of the students and of the audience minds to see what they got, what was the most striking idea that came out of the video. But it's exactly that. All right, we at first we think, okay, that's the first idea that we have, solving problems, right? Of course, with critical thinking and targeting at improving people's life in the world, right? But what about all these other important and essential issues and concepts that make us actually being humans, right? So being an engineer is much more than just solving problems. It's also about putting in first their creativity, imagination, and being ahead. So, like Costas referred, working for innovation and for improving the future and actually conceiving new ideas, new not only products but new ways of being and of living. So that's why I've picked up from this video helper that probably some of you, not only the ones that listened to me last week, but some others might already know this video. But it's really essential to focus on those aspects that are only human, like imagination, creativity, intuition, of course, emotion and ethics, right? And at least the way I see it, and I really would want to emphasize that these are my perspectives and my connections within these fields. And so many others can be made. All of us have a different way of looking at the reality, at their own experiences, at the world, at their jobs, and at the way we see each other in the world, right? So then, and that's what also makes us richer, isn't it? To be able to actually share all this. And once again, this makes me think of another aspect. Now the slide is not moving. Let's see if it moves. Why again? Why is it important more and more to consider this? Well, now I will back up on data, all right? The last few years, we have been watching to quite, actually probably not an improvement, but a difference in the way companies perceive and businesses perceive also their workers and the way they are placed in the world, right? So some companies that were not making, let's say, the effort to adjust to new realities have actually accelerated their digital transformation, even though they, until then, believed they didn't have that possibility, okay? So, and most of them actually completed the initiatives where they first were finding some resistance to. What is more, and this information, as you can read below, was taken from the IBM Institute for Business Value, right? And these next slides were taken from the World Economic Forum. So all the links then you can access on the presentation. This is also giving us an idea of how the plan was built to adapt businesses after or during this, so after the pandemic started, after COVID-19. And it's essential to highlight, oops, sorry, this was too fast. Yep, it was too fast. Now it is. I've highlighted these two that directly relate to what we are talking about today. So the importance of accelerating digitalization and upskilling, reskilling, so reinventing yourselves, finding ways of improving skills that you will already have, or of changing the way you develop, the way you actually improve your skills, get into new programs, for example. So, and what is more, there is also this set of information that analyzes, or this survey that analyzes the importance of the different skills groups compared to each other, right? And how they are evolving, right? So what will be decreasing, and we can see their physical abilities, for example, and what there will be increasing. And one that strikes the most, it's the top of the list, is this critical thinking and analysis that you have also pointed out previously, right? Well, next screen will show you the top 15 perceived skills and also skill groups that are growing and that will keep on growing in demand in the next 14 years, all right? So, and these, of course, are results that are available in these jobs for Future of Jobs survey from 2020, and that were the results from the survey applied to several companies. And once again, there we have. And in this time, look at the words innovation, once again, critical thinking, problem solving as well. There, on the 12th stage, we have troubleshooting and experience, okay? And of course, there are also all these that relate to the use of technology, being able to monitor a procedure, to control. Is in the 8th path, we have technology design and programming, right? So I believe that only analyzing this set of skills would take us 2 hours if we were kind of justifying and analyzing each of them. It's also important to highlight the one that is in the last stage of the list. So persuasion and negotiation, the ability to make yourself heard and your idea be believed by the others, so that you can also negotiate a way of making it real, right? So this is only for you to have this global idea of how everything is actually connected and how relevant the role of professionals are at the moment, and especially all the people that work in the engineering field, okay? Any question? If you want to ask some question, please, you interrupt me and just say it. Or if you don't...
Can I comment something on this list?
Yes, of course, of course.
I think that, you know, what is missing in this list, however, this comes from a very accredited, you know, source, is like the fact that right now, because of the digitalization, we have the collaboration of different disciplines and different culture, people from all over the world.
Yes.
Like, you know, in an office, I can have a colleague from China, I can have a colleague from Germany, I can have a colleague from Africa. So sometimes this cultural intelligence plays an important role regarding the communication. And this happens because of the globalization and the digitalization that makes the mixture of different cultures very, how can I say, very strong. So the way that we communicate depends on the culture, not like, and also flourishes or degrades sometimes the collaboration. Exactly. So I think that what is missing here is this one, cultural intelligence. It's very important for me.
Very good. And this was developed from a very technical perspective as well. The surveys from a very, let's see, action and do perspective, right? And from the way that the companies perceive their own upskilling and reskilling, or the reskilling and upskilling of their workers and the professionals, right? But it's exactly what Kostas has said, and it is perfect because it links directly to what I'm about to show immediately. What am I doing? Not this way, it's this way. Wait, too fast again, which is this. So now you can see where I've taken first the title of this talk, right? That good enough is not enough. And also where I've taken this picture from, right? So cultural intelligence depends not of a massive group of people, right? But of individuals that get together and that cooperate, right? So the difference is actually made by each of us. Any of us that is here in this meeting, in this class, in this lecture, and all the others that are scattered around the world, right? And this I've included here to introduce a set of tools, and I hope this will be very useful for the students mainly. Oh my God, this is getting too fast. I click once and it goes 2 slides ahead. Yes. So, of course, if we are working in a multicultural team, and we'll see this in a few minutes, that is made of also most of the times of multidisciplinary areas, people studying and involved in different areas, in different research areas, in different scientific areas, it's essential that we understand exactly how we behave individually, right? And that's the purpose of this SWOB analysis. So this is not a teamwork tool, but the first step should be making our own individual analysis. What are my strengths, my weaknesses, and what are the opportunities that I am opening to myself, and what do I individually consider as barrier? So my challenge to everybody, especially to the students, but to us, to the teachers and professors as well, is to make this personal SWOB, right? Actually register it and reflect on it. Probably not now, in this minute. I would like to actually, and then discuss afterwards, but time doesn't allow it to be that way. But actually do this like a board for projects and course units. Sometimes we make what is called a SWOT analysis. This is very common in marketing, right? So this is the similar or the corresponding one for individual characteristics, for our personal characteristics. Do this for yourself. Then I will leave you with these 6 tools that are available for free on the web, that you can then click on each of the links after the talk, because Professor Costas is going to share the PDF, and the links are available there. And actually try them out and see what the results are. Probably we'll have some surprises, right? And once again, we have to keep our mind open and also be critical about the results that all of this will get for our own characteristics. Well, why is this relevant? If we aren't aware of our individual weaknesses and strengths and what we actually want as opportunity and what we see as a barrier, we won't be able to work in a team, right? And only when we are very aware of our strengths and limitations, we can actually transform what we consider to be a barrier and a weakness or a limitation into something that can actually contribute in a positive way for the development of teamwork, regardless of being in a multicultural team or in a monocultural team, which is not common anymore. Actually, we can see by everybody that is here, being within only people from the same country and from the same area. That's not, that doesn't exist anymore, and there's no fun in it as well. So actually the teamwork is this ability of a group of people getting together. It's made of individuals with all their individual background, but they are working together as a single unit. It's not that they are losing their personality. No, they are a single unit working to reach a common goal, which is to be successful in a project, for example, in what they, like a bridge. If the team of workers, if the engineers that conceive that project are not united to take it until the end, anyone that will walk on it, probably it cannot even happen because it will fall apart. So will not be able to cross to the other side or to connect, right? And it is our individual behavior as well that makes a difference in the way we act within the team. So our the cognitive ability that people have, each one's values and motivation, personality, all the external influences that you can see on this blue balloon over there, and the role that you consider learning to have, these interfere in your own behavior and the other way round as well. So what I'm strengthening on this slide here is actually that team roles have all to do with individual skills that have to be brought to the success of this unit, which is the team. It has all to do with individual performance, and that's natural as well. And it's cooperating and coordinating all this that makes teamwork so challenging, isn't it? And so on this slide, you have also a link for you then afterwards to check what would be at this moment, because the way we learn, the way we act also changes throughout life. And according to the experience that we have in life. And so what is valid now and our characteristics at the moment in certain areas may change in the future, right? According to the way you interact. But it's it's a very interesting way of finding out what would be your place, what would be your role in a team to take this test. Well, on this image, actually, not just because I love it, but because it's it tells us so much about how teamwork may happen with very simple things. We have here 2 kids, all right, and they are fishing, and they are from humble origin. They are there, but they are not playing. They are cooperating. There's one, this little boy on the left. He's finding where the fish is. Let's see. Probably he's more observer. The other, it's better with the instrument to catch the fish. So they are cooperating. They are working together. They are not doing the same, but their purpose is the same: to take food home. And so they are combining what might be their best skills to attain that goal, right? Well, bringing this image and all this to our team identity, when we actually start, or when you start organizing yourselves as a team, there are these 6 aspects that cannot be forgotten. Before starting work, we have to set goals. And every team member must understand what is the mission of that team. What are the values? Which are the rules that will be organized to structure your work? And rules might be aspects as simple as the time that you meet to work, the communication strategy that you will use. Will you work on Discord? Will you work on Teams? Will we use Bitbucket if you are programmers, for example, or GitHub? Will you use Google Chat as well, or Google Meets? So setting up the practical structures so that everybody is on the same pace and knows exactly where the work can be found and when and who. And imagine if one of the team members is from Greece, another from Portugal, another from England, another from Italy, you have the schedules to match as well, right? Because it can be 6 in the morning in Portugal, but on the other side of the world, it's already lunchtime, all right? So all this is essential when you set up a team and when you start embracing the challenge of developing something together, right? And finding a solution to a certain need. And of course, the values of that interfere here are directly related to that SWOT analysis. Do you remember that? Right? Also? So, and
can I interrupt you?
Of course.
Sorry. Yes. Yes, I agree. The best features to work in a team group, as you said, vision and goals and values and embracing and challenging. 100% I agree with you. But I think analyzing and looking at my team groups, students, for instance, I think in my experience, there is a tool missing here, because it seems that most important for a good teamwork is a leader. If you have a good leader, a motivated leader, I think you can have a good to join everything, even all that rules and mission and values, if you don't have a strong leader, everything goes wrong, I think.
I don't agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone, this is great. Anyone else?
Sometimes the problem is if we have two great leaders, they can shock and they can compete between them. That is a very hard problem. But if you have one leader, for me, is number one to succeed. Yes, it's my opinion. Yes.
Virginie, what do you think about all this? Virginie Liltalek. Yes.
Yes, hi. I'm quite shared in this on this matter. It is true that I think when you, for example, write a project, I think if one person can be a leader, I think it makes everything smoother. But at the same time, I'm a big fan of teamwork and having everybody's time to shine, let's say. So yeah, I'm a bit balanced on this.
On the same pace, right? And yeah, Yanis, you are listening to us all talking about this. I'm calling the names I see here. Stan, Ophelia, what do you believe about this? Do you share these ideas? They don't talk. Gareth, I think you got their tongue.
But can I add something on this?
Yeah, of course.
I think there are some techniques that show how efficient a team works without a leader. I will say that a leader is a facilitator for time management only. If the team operates I will give you an example that comes from IT, the Scrum. Scrum is a technique to learn the team's work without a leader. Actually, it's a technique that they are using now in Finland for kids to learn by themselves. And the teacher is just in the room, just to facilitate the process, no leader.
It's a facilitator.
Exactly. And problem-based
already...
learning actually does not need a leader. It's like the supervisor is a facilitator. So I will, in order to combine what Teresa and Virginie has mentioned, I will say a leader is necessary. It's like, a dog in the ships. Like, in order to reboot the things, but you don't need, if the team works well and the team has been matched well from the beginning, and they share the same vision and they share the same principles, they don't need a leader.
It's the team's work. Basar, you wanted to say something? Yeah, thank you, Costas. I will try.
I wanted to add something to Scrub because I have been working in an internship company 2 years ago for 2 years. And we used Scrub every day.
Scrum, isn't it?
Scrum.
Scrum.
Yes.
Actually, the philosophy of Scrum is not having a leader. The leader is the team. Okay, and the team, maybe it depends on the project, that the area that it depends on the area that the project is involved in. They started, of course, in the software development area mainly, with agile approaches, but it's being adjusted to many other areas and many other projects. I'm using the Edu Scrum approach with my students in these short-term projects that involve mainly research. And setting up the values, regardless of having someone that might, a member of the team that might be, let's see, more extroverted, more organized, but these, and also quicker to propose solutions, what the team decides to do has to be solved and decided within the several members that constitute that team. Yep. Antonis, you want to add something? I like they are good. Yep.
I think that if you're not using a tool like Scrum, you don't have to find a leader. And I think that the problem is that when you hear the word leader, you get a little bit intimidated.
Intimidated.
Yes. the more appropriate word that I think I would use is to find the coordinator.
Okay.
You don't use a tool like that. Find a person that when a problem appears, to coordinate the people and find the right solution.
Yeah, so coordinate and ask for everybody for the solution. That's why, although I personally completely understand Teresa's perspective in this matter, it's so important to define when you are working, especially with lots of different people, with different areas, with different cultural backgrounds, that you find this team identity, and together, coordinating and discussing, you set up these goals, values, rules, and understand what's the mission. And of course, we are here highlighting what I prefer to refer as smart skills, the so-called soft skills, right? But having the knowledge of the project itself, of what is necessary technically, that it's not questionable. You must have it. And all the team members must be aware of their responsibilities. And that's why I get back to these reflections, sorry, again, that's why it's so essential that each individual actually understands their weaknesses, strengths, objectives, of course, opportunities and barriers. If each of us doesn't make this reflection and register and actually commits to it, and always with open mind and also to be flexible and change, it's not possible to be involved in a dynamic, flexible and successful team, right? Because once again, when everyone's think alike, probably no one is actually thinking. And that's Walter Lippmann's statement, not mine, as you can see there, but it's essential that, of course, being sustained and having appropriate arguments, but it's important to actually question everything so that change and improvement may happen. And the widest challenge of all, and I think I'm reaching my time, is that we are working in a multicultural and multidisciplinary world. And so there are differences, there is diversity to cope with, and all that is under the iceberg, and this is Edward T. Hall's iceberg of culture. Usually we see on the surface the immediate information, isn't it? That you see, that we know about the country, that we know about a specific area, a specific professional area, but what actually makes the difference and that we must find about our team members is everything that is underneath, that is not immediately seen on the surface, and that we only find by talking to each other, by being open-minded as well, being flexible and being able to listen to, observe, and answer back, right? So it's what is referred here as deep culture, not only what we see at the top, but everything that is there. Because if we know someone from a country, we might have these stereotyping ideas about their way of life, isn't it? But is that real for that person, right? For example, in Portugal, we have the fado as a special and very important song type, right? Do all the Portuguese enjoy fado? What does it make of a person that doesn't? You know, so it's all of this that's essential to understand about each other. And then almost reaching the top, and I prefer to show you this, these two hands together with all the words around actually summarize the essential that is the core idea of teamwork and communication. It's all about cooperating and engaging and joining with to reach this common ground. Okay, I could be here showing you an innumerable amount of pictures that I can find to make these metaphors with communication and teamwork. But let's move further, otherwise it will be very late, and for you, because I'm talking and I'm enjoying it a lot as well.
Anna?
Yes,
Tatiana is speaking. I just would like to add one comment. I'm very happy that you showed us before the iceberg, because this culture issue is very important in the teamwork, in the communication, especially also by projects. And according to my experiences already in the project, it has happened that we spent, I don't know, quite a lot of time just coming to the same level, because we even didn't understand each other, not because of the language, but because of the culture issues that were influenced the area that we were researching. That was the case with wider participation and people with special needs and things like that. And the things were organized so differently in different countries and in different cultural environment that we were not able to discuss the topic as long as we didn't agree what is where, what even we have to find the right words. So I just want to, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I just want to add the practical experience on that. And at last but not least, this is also one of my research topics and activities that I'm doing in my research, including the culture issues into research itself, how it influences and what we have to take into account. Otherwise, a great colloquia today, Anna, with you, and sorry for interruption. That was from my side.
So Anna, let me grab now the chance, the opportunity, because I work like a shark. So the next, you know, I would like to invite, you know, Tatiana, because I have seen a nice presentation before 3 years, I think, of Tatiana regarding not cultural barriers, but discipline barriers, because also discipline barriers are very important. And regarding collaboration right now, any project should be multidiscipline. So scientists, you know, from natural sciences communicate with managers, managements, with medical doctors, with salesmen, everything is a mix. With historians, you know, everything is mixed. So I would like to invite Tatiana next week at the same time at 5 o'clock, 15 minutes past 4 CET. Thank you, Pietro, for the sign language, to give us this talk about the discipline barriers. So Tatiana, the floor is yours now.
Yeah. I need the translation. So you, I mean, great, the invitation. So you would like to invite me to have the talk in 1 week.
Talk next week.
Exactly. You know, this is fixed. You should send me a photo, a short resume, and everything is up to us.
Okay. You will have this on Friday. Okay.
Just because we are talking about cultural barriers now, this Friday.
Yeah, and by the way,
no, I will send you what you would like from my side on Friday. Thanks for the invitation, and I will try to do my best then next Wednesday Yes, it's true. I agree with you. And this is also the field what I was researching, doing importance of the cooperating of different fields in almost everything. So, okay, I will send you the email with questions.
Tatiana is
Don't take
accepting,
away the
Costas.
time from Anna,
I
and
knew.
that's it.
I was waiting the opportunity. I knew.
Okay. So, and linking this, I just noticed that a few minutes ago I didn't call your attention to this. Look at the one of the deep aspects that is referred here. So how we approach simple aspects of life that are not that simple, like marriage, right? For example, also the way we approach raising children. So, and once again, problem solving there at the very bottom, right? And like Tatiana was highlighting, the cultural insights, our cultural background, individual and then in team, it's essential to be understood and to be very clear so that the barriers to communication disappear and that we can actually cooperate, because we don't see nor perceive things alike, any one of us, right? Well, and just reaching the end, I'd like to conclude with this statement from, well, not actually conclude, because the next slide, it's also very important, but this is a Michael Jordan's credits, right? So talent actually wins games, as he pointed out, but it's teamwork and this emotional, I would add here, emotion intelligence, communication intelligence, that actually make a team win championships. I don't know what is happening to my tongue. Sometimes I'm not saying words very well. Sorry for that. So, and now, yeah, reaching the end, I would like for you to keep these ideas in mind, right? So, regardless of the field that we are working in, our point is actually to work for the human beings as human beings and for the planet as well. So let's value people instead of objects, highlight strengths as not the weaknesses, and transform weaknesses into strengths whenever it's possible. Value ethics, respect, cooperation, inclusion, and of course, do not look always for perfection, but for doing the best that it's possible at that moment, and improve critical thinking, of course, justify, take initiative, act, because sometimes it's so easy to say and say and say, but proposing solutions, actually doing, that's the difficult part of crossing the bridge, okay? So, and that's where all professionals, but of course, engineering field overall also must act, right? And last challenge, keep this in mind, what actually motivates you to do what you do, right? Thank you so much for this opportunity. And if you want to ask questions, discuss more, that I'm free to do that. Okay, then Costas will share. There are some videos here. I even wrote in 3 languages, which was a challenge, but it's there. Bravo. So you will have the contacts and so on. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Anna, for this very nice presentation. I think that this is the time now for questions. If you would like to ask your question, please go to the reactions, raise your virtual hand, and direct the question to Anna. Until we will move.
May I raise my physical hand?
I mean, we should be adapted to the digital era. However, Gareth, since you are an archaeologist, I should respect your discipline. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself to the rest of the people, because they can listen about Gareth, that he's doing the proofreading of the governance model. You are in the Athena. You are well known as the native speaker that makes the corrections. So he is the native speaker.
I think I will be replaced by Anna. It's a pleasure to hear you again, Anna. I wanted to pick up on a couple of things that people said before, but I didn't want to interrupt you. The video you showed earlier reminded me of the film June.
Yeah.
A mixture of science and philosophy and everything put in together that you leave still thinking about it. And the leadership that people spoke about, excuse me, there are different forms of leadership. Some people lead by example. Some leaders are very mercurial up and down. What about the person who's stable for 10 hours a day that you can rely on? For me, that's another form of leadership. My feeling, like you working with international teams, is that everybody can offer something at some time. When we work together, we're all much stronger. I think what we need, and why I'm particularly pleased that Yanis Kaliakatsos with Kostas and myself, is a vision. What we need is a vision, and use all of our skills to work together to go forward and all be going in the same direction. If we're all moving in the same direction, we will get there. And a few people mentioned Scrum. I love the rugby. Okay, and
Yes.
Scrum comes from the rugby, the people tied in together, working together. But the Scrum does not work unless you have a common aim against which you have to combine. And the Scrum does not work if a ball is not put in there either. You're fighting against air. So I think people have to have a shared motivation. And I think the vision. When Erasmus Plus started 7 years ago with Yanis Kaliakatsos, it was very difficult to envisage where we are now. But we're now in the position where we can look forward to the next 7 years. It was better than hearing you once is hearing you twice. Thank you.
Thank you. It's the unity made of various people that combine all their differences for a common goal, and to make something that really matters and that contributes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gareth, for the comments, and Anna for the reply. Let's now give the floor to our colleague, Dr. Pietro Oliva. He has raised his virtual hand.
Yeah. I also
And both physical.
Yeah. Now I just want to add my little contribution, my thought, which is not really sometimes mainstream. I mean, if you really try to realize what a mind is, a mind is something, it's an epiphenomenon that emerges by the complexity of the matter. This is what a mind is. We don't have a more technical way to address. And now in the modern culture, when you are in a teamwork, what do? You delocate the information around the web, on servers. You have this huge amount of data which are delocated, and teamwork is a group of people that works on it. So it's kind of a bigger mind, that is acting. And we are, as an older generation, not really familiar with this kind of huge amount of data sharing. So what I always say is, in this new tendency, in this new world, we don't have to rely too much on older people's experience, because experience can be, of course, valuable, but in this new way of working, it could be not, because what is experience? Is a lantern that you have tied to your back. It casts light onto the past. It does not prevent you repeating the same mistakes again and again in the future. Yeah. So what we have to do is to bring this light inside and illuminate ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's why it's really essential that each person actually tries to understand their own characteristics and how individually they can contribute to this unity. And so I strongly advise all those that are interested to try those tests. The results are amazing in some of them. I've tried them all.
Anna, can I ask you something? I mean, yeah. I need your opinion, probably the audience opinion. You mentioned something about ethics and innovation, okay? Am I right? So this is a very a very sensitive borderline, because a lot of innovations at the beginning are not considered ethical. Go to check biotechnology, how the people they reacted when we have the creation of the in Edinburgh, the clone of the what was the name of the ship, the clone, when we make the cloning of the ship in Edinburgh.
Dolly the sheep.
How?
Dolly the sheep.
Dolly. You know how
Dolly,
people
the
they
sheep,
have reacted. Even I will go back to the era of the Second World War, that the whole space technology started, from the camp that it was not so ethical. So what is your opinion? What is what we can say about innovation and ethics? What is considered ethical innovation?
Well, I think that ethics must evolve and accompany innovation, isn't it? Because if what might be considered ethical in one area, yes, of a time, then there is development, and science mostly defies concepts and what is considered to be already settled. I perceive these ethics as also respect for integrity and individual characteristics. So without it's this old say of, if your freedom interferes with mine. Sorry, I know I'm mixing up concepts. I know, I tend to do that. So if someone else's freedom interferes with mine, that is it's not going in a correct and respectful path, right? But science defies innovation. If we are in this ground of living always by the same rules, right? So probably innovation is not ethical, but isn't it?
I don't know. I think that's a very hard question to answer. Yes, because there are a lot of examples that I can ask you. For example, the Nagasaki nuclear bomb. It was an ethical activity, action, or it's not? It was not. You cannot answer some questions, I think.
No, and that's is there anyone with answers to this here in the audience?
I mean, that's why I asked you, and then I asked, what about the audience?
No one answers nothing. So more than answers, recipes, I believe that it's essential for us to actually ask questions. And this gets me back to that cartoon. Okay, so actually it's essential to rethink, and sometimes what's ethical in an era doesn't make any sense when change occurs and when developing an improvement is there, right? Probably what we are doing at the moment was not also ethical, because we might be invading each other's privacy, right? But it's impossible not to consider these today as normal and part of change in the world and on people's interaction.
Thank you.
I know I didn't answer, but it's just
sometimes it's a discussion. There are not answers. No,
it's a discussion. That's it. And I hope I have raised at least lots of items for each of you to reflect within yourselves and to discuss with each other.
So, is there any questions? Other questions? I could see that Sfakianaki Pelagia tried to raise her hand, or probably he was made an experiment with this kind of so at this moment, we have to. We would like to thank again Anna for the nice presentation.
Thank you very much.
I mean, for the rest of the people, especially for the students and any participant, we have not finished the session. We are going to have a short break for 5 minutes, and then we will continue. I can see here the next speaker is here for the next hour. It's Dr. Elena Mizrahi from Israel. She works in the Western Galilee Institute in the Technion. and she's the expert that we have in this course regarding digital literacy. So Elena, if you don't mind, to have a 5 minutes break, and then continue. What are you going to talk to us about today?
Well, I wanted to ask the students. I always ask the audience. I think we discussed the two options. One of them is going into research and reading academic articles, research articles, and this is one of my passions to talk about research and to actually instill this in students' imagination, like a research head. And another topic, which is digital literacy oriented, is more about like practical skills in organizing documents, organizing files, file naming, and things like that. So we'll discuss this maybe after the break.
Okay.
Think about it. We'll decide what to talk about. We can do the research part together, right? Because this is something you wanted to talk about. So I also prepared something to support. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Elena. So let's have a short break, like 5 minutes. I will stop. I will pause the recording. So let's continue for the last, for the second part of the, thank you, Bazar, for the second part of this session of our course, Soft Skills and Research Skills Development. Thank you, Pelagia, very much. I appreciate. We are very glad that we have together us Elena Mizrahi. Always the second part is related with the digital literacy, very important in order to survive to the era that comes. Otherwise, you will be like me and Pietro, like, you know, we are not very well adapted to the digital world. So we are very glad that we have Elena Mizrahi, Dr. Elena Mizrahi with us. So the floor is to Elena to direct and make the scenario, as we would like to say with Pietro, make the scenario of the lecture. So the floor is yours.
So, I have two, as I said, I have two ideas. We can either talk about, I want to also see your need, either talk about word automatic features. This is something I discovered. I've been working in higher education for more than 12 years in Israel, and before I came from Ukraine originally. So I figured out really recently that some of my students simply don't feel comfortable writing up their papers in Word with all kinds of automatic features. So, you know, there are all kinds of things that I feel unnatural and easy, but it's real basic skills that sometimes are taught in school setting, and sometimes you need to learn them in your undergraduate studies. So if you have any question or so the task there, it's going to be hands-on task. We're going to do something in Word. We're going to actually convert an article. I found a really interesting article about soft skills and employability skills, and we will put it into Word document, and we will test all kinds of automatic features. For example, creating the table of contents, adding page numbers, you know, adding page breaks, and the difference between adding just a blank page and page breaks, all kinds of little things. Nitty-gritty work. So if you want to improve those skills, this is number one right on the chat, number one. If you want to start the topic, you know, the preview for the next following, I think there will be a series of lectures on how to read a paper, how to write an academic paper, how to do research, how to go into the researcher's head and develop research, your own ideas. So we can talk about research as well. I have some options for you. So one is for file naming, Word automatic features, and two is for research and how to, I guess we'll use it. So I need one or two on the chat, everyone. Type your preference. What do you want to talk about now? It's more like practicing rather than talking. Okay, so we will also find time for the file naming task anyways. So maybe it's just you guys are already skillful and you have enough knowledge about this. So I can show you, I see you want to talk more about the research, which is fun. I have a really great activity for us for the research task. Before we go there, I will just show you briefly about the file naming and the word task. There are some students who are actually interested in talking about that. We will get there as well. The section is on your Moodle. You can find it under the digital academic literacy skills. So by the way, if you haven't introduced yourself there, this is also your chance, because some of you already added the information about yourselves with a selfie, with a picture. Some of you haven't, so you can go there and add. Here we have the actual task. So the article we're going to read is, do college graduates have the soft skills that employers want? It's a short read, really short article. And we will actually practice using all kinds of word automatic features. But since most of the participants voted for the research topic, we will jump into research then. But this is still there, and we will do it maybe next week, in between other things, because it's a short task, and I just wanted to show you some of the things there as well. Okay, so if you wanted to talk about research, let's see what you already know about research first, and we're going to do a Kahoot game. So you need to find Kahoot on your, I suggest on your phone. If you're connected to your laptop, the easiest thing to join would be to type Kahoot on your phone, and like this, Kahoot it. And then you will be invited to join with the code. So the pin is here. You can either open an additional window on your computer, or it's better to use two devices, because the questions will be on my Zoom screen, which I'm sharing. And you will have to choose the answer on the other device or on the other screen, which is next to the screen. So you need to split your screen somehow if you have a laptop screen, or use an additional device. Okay, so I'm gonna wait for everyone to join. So we'll talk about the structure of the research, some vocabulary maybe, just to make sure that everyone is on the same page in terms of the terms that are used in empirical research. Okay, so we have 15 participants. Sometimes if you don't manage to connect to an additional device, maybe you're from your phone, you can use the Zoom chat also to respond if you want. Okay, let's give it 60 more seconds before we begin, not to leave anyone behind. So we have 17 students here, 18, great. Okay. I think there is an option to join during the activity, so the pin will be available for you all the time. So let's begin. The first question. Which word does not belong? So we will see a few options. You need to choose the word that does not belong to the category. And why is this important to talk about this anyways when you talk about research? See? So the time is up. You have only 2 seconds to answer. Not everyone responded, so it's going to stop now. Most of you got it right. So the word that does not belong is subject, right? Because actually when you talk about aim of the research or goal or research purpose, objective, it's the same thing, right? So any kind of research must have some kind of aim. So what I ask usually my students is, can the aim be to show something or to demonstrate something or to prove something? What do you think? Yes or no? On the chat. Can the aim be to show or demonstrate or prove something? Yes or no on the chat. Is it possible? Oh, you know what? I'm going to do, yes. Okay, wonderful. So write it on the chat. I'm going to do another question. Yes, yes, yes. I see a lot of yes. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so let me just stop here. I'm going to share another screen. I'm going to write you. So the aim can be, if we talk about the aim of the study, right? So choose the most probable answer. Can it be to show, to demonstrate, to prove? Okay, so you need to, eliminate the wrong answer. There is one correct answer here. On the chat, guess which one would be correct. So imagine this is a question in your quiz or exam, and you need to actually identify, it's a multiple choice question, right? So there is only one correct answer. And it could be written anything here. So what are clearly incorrect answers here? There is only one correct answer. Many of you said that the aim could be to show something, to demonstrate something, or to prove something. Now, let me see. A, B, C, or D. Just, if you're not sure, take a guess. A, B, C, or D. What can the aim be? Okay, so many of you, wow, actually go for all the wrong answers. Okay, Kostas, well done. You are actually a researcher. Okay, not so many people actually identified B as the only correct answer, because when we talk about the aim of the study, imagine the aim of the study. When do you think about the aim? What is the aim? It's something right at the beginning, right? You just setting up your study for the first time, and you wanna find out the answer to your question, right? Basically, the aim cannot be to show something or to demonstrate or to prove. The aim is essentially to find the answer to your question. Okay, the aim of the study is always to find the answer to your research question. So the aim and research questions sometimes are even identical in terms of words. The only difference between a research question and the aim is that the research question has a question mark, and the aim begins with the words like to know something, to find out, to discover, to examine, to study something, to explore something, to discover something, right? To determine something, to examine something. There are so many different ways you can formulate the aim of the study, but it's never to show or demonstrate or prove, because you never begin a research in order to prove something, right?
Elena?
Yes.
Can I add something when you finish on this?
Of course.
So I will say the aim is like the motivation of what we are doing. So in order to have the motivation of what we are doing, of course, we should have a problem. So we have a reference point. We don't start say we would like to discover, because the people, they will ask, and who cares about this? So I will say the aim should be linked with a existing problem, and you provide a solution or a progress on a technology based on existing problem and a challenge. Otherwise, the backup is not so strong. So I will say also, I agree with you to know, to formulate and generate new knowledge, but also demonstration exists within the aim, because you demonstrate what your suggestion is solving. So you need to have.
I know why many of you actually felt so natural hearing the words show and demonstrate and prove, because this is really, really common language in research, but we see it usually when we get to the actual methodology part or results part or discussion and conclusion. We can say that what we found in research demonstrates this and that. The study shows that. The data demonstrate that, right? This or that research or our study or the results prove that. Okay, so proving, prove, demonstrate, show, suggest, all these words are really, really significant in the research article, but they appear later on. They usually appear in the results section, in the discussion section, in the conclusion section. So the study itself can demonstrate something, that can prove something, and can show something. But usually when you begin, you set up a question, right? You don't begin with an ambition to prove something, right? You might have a hypothesis, you might have your own assumptions before you get to the results, but the study will demonstrate something for sure. The aim is kind of different. So I have actually another file, which I'll show you in a moment, with all kinds of different words, vocabulary items, the verbs that you need to formulate the aim correctly, right? In terms of examine, study, learn, right? Discover, explore, and so on. So the aim can be many, many different things.
But I insist, I will say that, you know, in a paper, you know, the motivation should be the first thing in order the people to read your work.
Right, for sure. So there must be some kind of maybe aim and hypothesis. It is there for sure. So let's move on to the next question. And we have also the winners with the most accurate and fast response. The method of a study tells you. This could be confusing because there are two possible answers, but one of them is more inclusive than the other. You need to include everything. The method, when you think about the method. So what is the method of the study? Yes. Oh, okay. Yes, it's no one actually went for the second possible option, which is participants. Participants sometimes is part of the method, right? When you describe your sample, your participants. Well, data is not in the method. Data appears after the method section in the result section, right? And conclusions, 4 people chose conclusions. So conclusions are at the end of the article, right? They're not part of the method. The method is the actual instrument, how you conduct your research. What is your idea? What is your empirical you know, the participants, the instrument, how you divide them into groups, what are you going to manipulate, what are the variables, right, and how you're going to analyze the data. So this would be the method, how, right? Everything else is before or after. So you will soon hear about what comes before and after, right? Mostly from Kostas. I'm going to move on to the next question. If you are not part of the Kahoot, you can answer on the chat. The next question, number 3. Discussion of the research describes the aim, how the results were obtained, the implications, or how can we explain the results. What is the purpose of the discussion section in an article? Okay, so you see, most of you actually got a little bit lost. So if I may remind you, right, at the beginning we have the introduction and literature review, kind of the rationale for our study. In the method, we already present all our ideas for how we conduct the study. So we have participants. First of all, we have research question, we have participants, we have the instrument part, right? We have the design of the study, if we have groups, if we divide them. After the method, we have the results section, right? What we actually found. And then we would have the discussion. In the discussion section, we actually need to explain the results. So what do these results mean, right? Before we get to the point where we come to conclusions and usually implications. So 5 people chose implications. So implications appear in the conclusion section, right? What does this mean in general in the conclusion section? How the results were obtained is something that we also describe in the method section, right? So the yellow will be still the method section. The aim is something that has to appear before everything else, right? The aim is the #1 thing. Both in your paper, in your head as a researcher, you always have to have your motivation, right? As Costa said, motivation, your idea, your question in mind, and everything is around your aim. Okay, great. Next question, let's see. Results are usually presented in the past tense. True or false? Results are usually presented in the past tense. 1 second left and the time is up. 50-50, okay. Was it a guess? I don't know. Yes, they are presented in the past tense. So how do you know? Think about it. What in writing, in language, right? We always report the results. We found that, and then we say what we found, right? In our particular study, in our experiment, in our research, right? What did we find? We found in the past tense, right? We don't speak about general, I don't know, present simple. The study means that, right? It will appear later in the article, but not in the results section, because results are really, really specific about what we found in our particular study, right? So this is past tense. Next question. Conclusions may include recommendations. False in red and true in blue. They sometimes change. 8 seconds left. And more people are participating. Interesting. Okay, 1 second left, and most of you are right. Yes, conclusions may include recommendations. Of course, they are general conclusions. They talk about the implications, and they also include recommendations. So how do we know in terms of language? How do we know that this could be a conclusion? How do we recommend something in English? What would be the language expression? How can we recommend something? What is the word in English to recommend? Just give me some ideas, maybe on the chat, or unmute yourself. How can you recommend? I'll give you the first letter.
We propose, it's strongly suggested. Always, it's very important what, Elena is mentioning here, because conclusions should include also future work, in order to provide and give a depth to your research, to show to the community that your research has a future. More people that are going to be involved. So don't write just a conclusion, we concluded this, this, and this, but also try to give an insight, about the future work that can be done. This will provide you with more citations from the other people around, because you are giving a depth, a life to your research. It's not something dead. You did it and that's it. This is not it. This does not have such an impact.
Right. Well, the most common expressions that I noticed in the papers that I read is should. This means that, for example, if the research is about kids watching TV, and then in the conclusions we can say that the parents should limit the TV viewing time, blah, blah, blah. Or this needs to be done, right? Should be and need to be done and have to be done. So all the modal verbs, right, in English, they come to place when we talk about recommendations and in the conclusion part. This is the only part where you can already, think about recommendations based on your findings and conclusions and everything. All right, so let's move on to the next question. Hold on. And every time we have a new leader on the board, conclusions are usually presented in the present tense. You already know that the results are in the past. What about the conclusions? The conclusions will be presented in the present tense. Yes. And then here again, we will see a lot of the words like we already were mentioned. The study suggests, right? The study shows something. The study demonstrates something. And here we use the present simple, right? General statements, conclusions. So here the conclusions will be presented in the present tense, unlike the results that were specific, right? In the past, we found that 50%, in fact, 2.1 something, all kinds of details and numbers and percentages in the results suddenly become general statements in the conclusions with this kind of language: suggests, shows, demonstrates, and so on. Okay, I'll give you the table which summarizes all the language that you need to identify different parts of research. Results are general, conclusions are specific. True or false? True is red, false is blue this time. 10 seconds left, hurry up. Results are general, conclusions are specific. And it's the other way around, right? You notice, I hope you notice, right? The results have to be specific. The results are numbers, percentages, some specific findings that we found in our research, right? The conclusions are general statements, right? Which word does not belong here? Sample, subjects, topics, participants. We have 10 seconds left. Everyone answered. Okay, 20 answered. Only 2 people got it right. Okay, interesting. So when we talk about sample, we talk about population sample. Well, perhaps that's because I come from social sciences, humanities. So whenever I do research on people. Maybe the engineers and I don't know, people from electronic engineering would research in machines. You don't think about participants as sample population, right? So basically the word sample means a sample population, right? What kind of people you're testing if this is empirical research on people. Subjects is another word for participants, which is used in research. It was used exclusively, especially before 2000. Recently, we kind of switched more to the word participants. The participants is actually who participated in your study, right? And the same subject. Subjects are people, usually people, right, who were tested, examined, who took part in the experiment. So sample, subjects, and participants are part of your, study experiments if you work with people. Topics has nothing to do with this category, right? Topic is just a word similar to subject that I picked to confuse you guys, and you got confused. Okay. Next, we have only 2 questions left. The hypothesis of the study, this is a grammatical question, was or were. Let's see how you... how well you know the grammar rules. The word hypothesis. We have already most of the answers done, and 50-50, right? Let's see the screen. Oh, yeah, 50-50. Okay. So when we talk about one hypothesis, the spelling is like this, S-I-S. When we have one hypothesis, right, it was. But when we have hypotheses, this is plural in English, and therefore we need the verb in plural, right? Our hypotheses are, or our hypotheses were, if we reported the results and discussions and we go back to our initial hypotheses. So, both exist, right? It could be singular IS was or plural ES, and then you need to choose where. Okay. I'm also an English teacher, so that's why I have these questions. I love grammar and all these things. So, sorry guys, but I hope this is helpful. Let's move on to the last question. Last question for today about research. The abstract is the article summary. True or false? This is the time for you guys to all to be correct. No mistakes. Or maybe to learn what the abstract is about, right? Maybe not everyone knows the word abstract. See? And the abstract is the article summary. Where is the abstract when you look at the paper? Because not everyone probably knows the vocabulary word. So where is the abstract? At the end, at the beginning, in the middle, where is it? Where do you put the abstract? Where can you find it? You can write on the chat or unmute yourselves.
I'm not going to answer. me.
No. It's the question for students, and I see that students are responding.
You know,
on the chat.
now it's a game. I'm feeling like a kid now.
Yeah, okay. So great. Of course, at the beginning, right under the title, right, you have a title, you have an abstract, and this is the article summary. So the abstract will include all the information that you need: the aim, research question. Well, again, aim and research question are kind of the same thing. The method, the results, and the conclusions, right? Everything will be found in the abstract. And then you decide whether the paper is interesting to read or not. So let's see the winner. Can you, let's see who won the game today. So Pietro is number 3. Kostas is number 2.
Come on, something happened. You know, check it again.
Come on, okay.
Something changed.
Pasi and Anthony's are 4 and 5. Okay. So you see,
but I lost the connection on 2 questions. That's
no
why.
excuses, no excuses. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing for just 1 second and close the music from my computer. Okay, so I guess it's time for me to show you the kind of the summary table, which, one moment, I'm gonna share my screen. I got kicked out of my Moodle for once. Okay, now I'm back. Okay, so and I will upload this also on your Moodle. So when we talk about research analysis, it always begins with the purpose, aim, and goal, which includes kind of research question, right? And I will add the important word that we just discussed, the motivation, right? This is your motivation for the study motivation, right? Anything else I need to add here, Kostas? Pietro, what else do we need in the purpose, aim, and goal?
I would say the motivation, even for the reviewers, is the most important thing, because it's like a presentation. Everything is the same. To oral presentation, written presentation, they have the same principles. The people, they should be convinced why they have to listen to you, why they have to read you. So it's the most important thing to have it clear on your mind, why the others, they will read you, and why the others, they will listen to you. It's the first thing that it should be very clear before you start anything, any kind of presentation.
Normally there is, it's in my vision, it's 2 different ways of addressing the aim. One is to, of course, to falsify some others claim, and the other way is to address a new problem, in my opinion.
Okay, well, so you have also a list of vocabulary words that normally very often can be found in the aim. The sentence can begin with the aim was, but you can also see the verbs like find out, discover something, understand something, observe, know, determine, examine, investigate, and so on. So you're finding out the truth, right? You're searching the answer to the question. You're kind of examining something, either, you know, refuting something in the past that you disagree with, or discovering something completely new, right? But essentially there is a motivation, there is aim and goal, which sometimes just looks like a research, like the research question and motivation and aim are really, really connected. I will show it to you in a moment in an example. Now, when we talk about subjects and participants, and I saw that there was a little bit of confusion here. So it's basically your sample, right? Your population sample, your study participants, right? People who take part in the study, if there are people involved. I don't know. I'm just I'm familiar with research, empirical research, including people from social sciences. Okay, the method is all about how the research is conducted. Duration is important, right? Sometimes we have a short-term study, sometimes we have longitudinal study over years, right? The results are really something specific, right? The data that you collect, and they would present a description of patterns, events, sometimes all kinds of information, tables, percentages, numbers, and the results are presented usually in the past tense, right? We found that, we discovered that. The conclusions, on the other hand, are some general ideas, They present the answer to the questions, to the research questions that were mentioned in the aim of the research, right? And they may include recommendations, of course, and they usually are presented in the present tense, like the study suggests, that, shows that, demonstrates, and so on. Okay, so this is a little introduction into the main concepts and the main kind of puzzle when you think about the research. Well, we do have half an hour. Do we have half an hour, Costas? We're going to stay until 8, right, everyone?
Yeah. We can stay.
So let's then jump into actual research. We're going to think about our own study. I am sharing my screen, right? Okay. So I'm going to do the following. 1 second. Confuse, present. No. Need to clear the drawings. Okay, and now I want to ask you, just stop it for a second. I'm going to send you a link to the Mentimeter. You're already familiar with the tool. You get a question, and we are going to answer the question now, which is what leads to success. So if we think about research, we are going to be researchers tonight, right now. We are going to explore, again, this is the topic that I like to present and talk when I talk about research to my
Elena,
students.
since we have people also here that, you know, they are master students or undergraduate students, I would like to highlight that the main principles that you are presenting are applied even for your thesis, for your master thesis, like, you know, abstract, motivation, conclusions, the past term regarding your results. The same principle. So do not be confused that this is just for papers. This is for everything.
Yeah, this is actually, we are going into, this is more than for paper. This is how to become a researcher yourself, right? I myself was exposed to the empirical research only when I came to Israel and I did my completion studies for the PhD, because I started my PhD here, but I didn't know much about research because the research, the way you do it in Ukraine is different than here and in the world. So I learned about the empirical research for my PhD, and now I'm sharing things that I learned in order to complete my PhD. So we're going to talk about success, and our research question will be what leads to success. Okay, we will soon formulate the aim and everything. But before we do that, I actually want to hear your ideas. So here, by the way, Costa, this is something I wanted to show you. You have the share button, right, from the Mentimeter. When you click on share, you have the voting link. You see copy link, copy it, and now I can send it on the chat, and everyone gets into the answer screen right away without, you know, entering code and things like that. So my question now for you is, hold on, you can only see this short question, what leads to success? I need you to write 8 things that lead to success, and think about everything, your success in general, right? Life success. 8 things that lead to success. I'm going to wait for everyone to think. Anything that comes to your mind, what do you think leads to success in life? Not only in academic studies, not only, you know, in your personal life, life in general. When you think about success as a goal, could be anything, right?
I think that you should share your screen, because in this way we will be able to see the replies.
Okay. Now the replies are coming up. They were not there yet, but now they're coming up. So let's see. And I'm going to go to present, maybe even to show it on the big screen. As soon as you post, we'll see. Now remember that the question is what leads to success, right? What makes you successful? What can make you know, students or people in general successful? So there is luck, consistency, creativity, money, time management, commitment. Okay, 9 people already contributed. Okay, patience, motivation, happiness. Happiness leads to success. Interesting. Okay. So the most common answers become, most prominent in the word cloud. So we have consistency, we have luck, we have creativity, optimism, knowledge, patience are key things that you mentioned. Finally, passion. Someone writes passion, of course, passion, hard work. Okay, finally we get to the right components: hard work, talent, courage, okay, communication, time management, endurance, strategy. Wonderful. So 21 people already contributed. Great. Integrity, knowledge, luck, optimism. What else? Being positive, intelligence, cooperation, engagement, perseverance. Persistence, resilience, strong network, study work. Okay. Nice. 22. Are there any other responses we should wait for? What I'm going to do now, I'm trying to escape the full screen. Am I out? Yes, I hope so. No, I'm not. But I can already take this cloud and I'm going to paste it somewhere in the table. Since we are going to be researchers now, this is our research question: what leads to success? I'm going to also demonstrate another researcher who already answered the question and his answer. So first of all, what we did right now is our hypothesis, right? Let's think about it this way, right? I remind you what's the meaning of hypothesis. And we talked about hypothesis in singular or plural. What kind of hypothesis is this? Is it is or are? Here, was, where, hypothesis. Remember? When it ends with is, singular or plural?
This one's single.
Singular, right. And when we have hypotheses, right, it becomes plural. Then we would say are. Our hypotheses are. Okay, so just remember this little tip. And these are our hypotheses, right? Things that lead to success, probably, perhaps. Now let's think about real studies. So if you want to answer this question, you will find out the name of the researcher soon. First of all, let's see what could be the aim of the study. Remember what I said, that the aim and the research question are somewhat even identical, I would say. Remember, aim and research question. We can sometimes put equal the equation mark here next to each other. So let's try and formulate the aim now. If this is our research question, what would be the aim? You know what? I'm going to share this with you right now so you can actually contribute and work on it with me. So anyone with the link will become an editor right now. And I'm sending you the link on the chat. So you can also try and join me here. So when you click on this link, it takes you to the first page. The first page just summarizes everything we just discussed, the purpose, the subject, the method. So you can look at this worksheet later on. Just scroll down to the second page. And I want someone to actually write the aim. What could be the aim of the study? If the question is what leads to success, let's try and formulate the aim. And of course, the students are more than welcome to try and formulate something. This is anonymous, right? Oh, okay, great. So we have an anonymous somebody trying to write something. Yes. You can also contribute. You can try and write under this, right? So it's a collaborative writing. You can all write together. We're trying to formulate the aim. Right? What's the aim of the study? So the question is out there. So you need to use the question and put it in your aim, right? It's the same thing, the same words. Come on. Can the aim be to prove something? Okay, so the question is what leads to success? What would be the aim? Do you need help, guys? Look here. This is the language you need to use. And then you use the research question, and that's it. Try this. Okay, we see an anonymous duck is there. Okay, to find out what leads to success. What leads someone to success? And we have something in Greek. Very interesting. Okay, to find out what leads to success. This is the easiest way to formulate your aim, right? You have a question in mind, right? The question has a question mark. So in order to formulate this, the quickest way to formulate the aim, it's to use a question and just add one of those words, right? To find out, to summarize, to discover, to explore what leads to success, right? To understand what leads to success. Isn't this the aim, to understand this? To learn what leads to success, to examine, to check, to investigate what leads to success, all those words and the actual question. So let me show it to you. Just use the question like this, copy paste, right? And use the verb to find out what leads to success. So we already have that, to find out, to understand what leads to success. This is our aim, right? So the difference between the research question and the aim, in this case, right? Maybe not always, but in this case, it's just this. Remove the question mark and add the verb. That's it. Otherwise, I'm not sure that the aim is to prove something. Again, I believe that the study can prove something, right? But this is not the initial aim. The aim is something that you start the research with, and you have no idea what you find out, what you're going to find out. So you cannot be aiming to prove something initially. Otherwise, you're kind of biased, right? Whatever. What if you find out the opposite, and you wanted to prove something else? So you will be devastated probably. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Kostas, Pietro. I don't know. I'm not sure about the proof thing.
No, you're not wrong. You're, absolutely right. You don't prove something on the aim.
The aim is to find out the truth, right? Is to find the answer to the question.
We discover this. We suggest.
Yes. To find out, to summarize.
Sometimes it depends on the area. So sometimes, a problem expressing, bias from my research area.
So thank you guys so much for actually participating and writing here. So to understand or find out what leads to success, I'm just gonna stick to these two and then we'll remove the others. But it's a Google document. You can always go back to history and see open history. You can always see the previous comments if you want to go back to them. Okay, now if you wanted to answer this question, what leads to success, where would you go, which location, and who would you ask? The subject, who would be your subjects? Again, you can go down to the subjects and think, who would be your subjects? How many subjects do you need? Right, we talked about subjects being actual participants of the study. So who would you ask what leads to success and where? What do you think? And someone is writing successful people, right? You would go and ask successful people, right? People who achieved something, right? It depends, right? How many people and where? But what would be the ideal location to find a bunch of successful people? People from various disciplines, from various professions, right? I can read your mind. You see, before you write, I already know what you want to say. Successful people, people from various professions, for sure, right? Innovators in the topic, exactly. You will look at in historical examples, but you're actually, oops, someone deleted everything. Oops. Okay, thank you for bringing it back. Digital literacy, right? Control that, bring everything back. Okay, people from various professions. So let's add successful people. I'm going to put it together from various professions, right? From different professions, from a variety of professions, right? Innovators of the topic, for sure, right? Enough. What is enough sample? So here you talk about enough. How much is enough? How many people do you need? Yes, numbers. I need numbers. Write some numbers. What would be the enough sample? 5 people, 10 people, 1,000 people? What do you think?
I will say the people that they have introduced, the inventors of the technology, and the latest results. These are the essentials. You should not make a historical an encyclopedia. So the people that they open the field and the people that they have performed, they have contributed to the latest results. This is, I think, you know, a good tip.
For sure, I agree. So let's remove these historical examples, because maybe before we remove them, let's make students understand why. Because when you talk about the method, we are living in 2021, and we are the researchers. This is our question. Who are you going to ask? We're not going to Google it. So let's think about a real empirical research. We're going to go there, find those people, and do something with them. What are we going to do? What is going to be our method? So how are we going to find out that yes, interview, amazing, anonymous, whatever it was, how, right? So how are we going to do it? Interviews, great suggestion. I don't think the surveys would work, right? These people don't have time to answer any kind of, I don't know, questionnaires, but you actually need to grab them for a talk and interview them and have a qualitative interview, right? Kind of ask them questions. Great, okay. Now, where would you do that? So let's remove the Google from here, because you're not going to interview people on Google, right? You're going to find those people somewhere. Where would be the ideal location to find those people? All of the innovators and successful people from various professions, where can you find them? Where can you find the bunch of people like this? And again, I'm waiting for some ideas on the numbers. How many people? What would be the enough sample of people, right? Someone wrote conferences, webinars, meetings, right? Okay. Which country? All over the world. Okay. And the sample of participants. How many participants do we need? Just guess. I'm gonna let me just put it this way. This is an existing research, right? We're gonna watch a short video. It's 3-minute video, which covers everything and talks about. Someone just deleted everything. Oh, no, not very short, not very long. Sample means the number of people, so we need the number, like, I don't know, 5, 10. How many people do you need to interview, right? So this would be the method. You need to interview a bunch of people, right? So how will you and these are different methods. Okay, I see, guys, that you actually know different methods. You talk about surveys and observations in big companies, maybe experiments, right? Let's stick to the easiest way in our case, because we didn't win a grant to 5 million euros to organize all those expensive observations and experiments. So we just go to a conference. Let's think about the conference as the right answer, webinar and meeting. We will interview some people. Okay, so I see 100. Okay. Any other ideas? 100 would be.
I mean, how can we make the number? You know, I mean, I can say a percentage up to the total number of stakeholders. You know, a number, you cannot say a number.
Okay, so what would be the minimum? Let's think in general. When you talk about research in general, what is the minimum number? Sometimes we have case studies.
Elena, I will say percentage. There is no number. So it depends on the stakeholders, depends on the market. When you're making a survey, it depends on the market. So I will say, you know, at least the 10%, you know, of the stakeholders, if you are surveying, if you make a survey in a topic, there is no number, depends on the market size.
So if you interview one person who is extremely, I don't know, Elon Musk, extremely successful and famous, and he probably knows something about how to become successful, right?
Success,
is it enough?
No, because success can follow different pathways. So this person will identify you only in one pathway. Yes. But in the research, who is talking?
papers with one reported case and presented like this, like published papers where they talk about one person or two people?
No, I
or
mean,
subjects?
I mean, probably you are biased by your area, but in our area, I mean, you need, you know, different opinions, different approaches. We don't survey people in physics. I mean, we compare results and we back up our results. We don't, I'm not going to Pietro to ask his opinion about my results. Probably I will reference Pietro's work in order to back up my work. But
actually, in social sciences, this exists, right? Sometimes there are papers about just one participant, one subject, and they are described in real detail. You can read a paper, 50 pages article about someone from different, I don't know. So this exists, and it's called a case study, but it's not an empirical research, right? I agree with you, because you need more people, you need more data, you need varied, you know, approach from different, as we said, people from various professions. So 1 or 2 or 3 people would be interesting. This will be called a case study, right? So this is something that exists out there in research and publications. But when we talk about empirical research with more reliable results, maybe valid results, we need larger samples, right? Maybe 100 participants. What else? What can it be? Now we're going to listen to an actual research. Let's guess. How many people did he find? 50, 100, 500. Write your guess. Just guess. Maybe on the chat. Maybe here if you're with me on this Google. 10, maybe he found 50, maybe he found, I don't know, just a random guess. Of course, you can't know, it's just a prediction. 1,000, excellent. So we have 1,000.
No, it's true. We just published something in the education science, and you know, we had to interview 2,500 students all over Greece in order to identify what are the barriers regarding online teaching and online learning. So in order to publish this thing, we should have a very good sample, a percentage of the overall students in Greece to get the case study.
Okay, so I'm going to put all the different methods that you wrote here. And we're going to actually move on to the talk, right? So your task now is the video is really short. It's only 3 minutes, so don't worry, it's not going to be long. We're going to actually find out what leads to success, which is an interesting question, right? So pay attention to the name of the author, to the name of the researcher. We need to find out the location. Where did he conduct the study? You need to pay attention to the number of people he interviewed, right? What kind of people, and whether he also thought about interviews. So maybe one of those other options that you wrote here. The duration of the study, how long do you think it took him to answer the question? How long can it be a short-term study, like one, you know, I don't know, 1 month, 1 week, 1 year? How long do you need to answer something like this as a researcher? Let's see if you have the right idea in mind.
To this question, I'm saying to my students, but again, it depends. I'm in physics. I say to them, don't try to make everything perfect in order to publish. You know, publish when you have something new. If you are trying continuously to get, you know, the perfect results for everything, you will never publish. And then there is a competition, and the competition needs, you know, to be fast. So you should be accurate, fast. So on this question is like to be the first, like to publish and be the first one that you report something.
Right. So if you needed to answer and find all those
1
people
month in our area to publish something within 1 month of the experiment, but again depends on the topic. I'm in laser physics, so the results are in solar cells. They are coming very fast. There are other topics in physics like nuclear physics, or you know, people that they develop whole systems that it will take years. It depends.
In astrophysics, normally takes years.
Years.
Because we have a double-blind analysis.
Sometimes years, for sure. Okay, so you'll find out how many it took the researcher to get the results, and we will find out the 8 things that lead to success and compare them to our hypothesis. So let me just start this shortly because we only have 10 minutes. So I'm gonna just launch 8 secrets to success. And it's here. Let me know that the sound works okay. I'm gonna check that the subtitles are here as well. Just a moment. Subtitles should work.
This is really a 2-hour presentation I give to high school students, cut down to 3 minutes. And it all started one day on a plane on my way to TED 7 years ago. And in the seat next to me was are
you all familiar with TED? Do you know what TED means and where is it and what is it? Yeah, guys, students also know. Yeah.
Yes, I've listened to other TEDs before, like Big Jobs and others.
So you were right. It's you see you also can see the place, right, and the year. So kind of we can figure out the year of research once you hear the details. Okay. So TED is a conference. You were right.
High school student, a teenager, and she came from a really poor family, and she wanted to make something of her life. And she asked me a simple little question. She said, "What leads to success?" And I felt really badly because I couldn't give her a good answer. So I get off the plane and I come to TED. And I think, geez, I'm in the middle of a room of successful people. So why don't I ask them what helped them succeed and pass it on to kids? So here we are, 7 years, 500 interviews later, and I'm going to tell you what really leads to success and makes TEDsters tick. And the first thing is passion. Freeman Thomas says, "I'm driven by my passion." TEDsters do it for love, they don't do it for money. Carol Coletta says, "I would pay someone to do what I do." And the interesting thing is, if you do it for love, the money comes anyway. Work. Rupert Murdoch said to me, "It's all hard work. Nothing comes easily, but I have a lot of fun." Did he say fun, Rupert? Yes. TEDsters do have fun working, and they work hard. I figured they're not workaholics, they're workaholics. Good. Alex Garden says, to be successful, put your nose down in something and get damn good at it. There's no magic, it's practice, practice, practice. And it's focus. Norman Jewison said to me, "I think it all has to do with focusing yourself on one thing." And push. David Gallo says, push yourself. Physically, mentally, you've got to push, push, push. You got to push through shyness and self-doubt. Goldie Hawn says, "I always had self-doubts. I wasn't good enough, I wasn't smart enough, I didn't think I'd make it." Now, it's not always easy to push yourself, and that's why they invented mothers. Frank Gehry said to me, "My mother pushed me." Serve. Sherwin Newland says, "It was a privilege to serve as a doctor." Now, a lot of kids tell me they want to be millionaires, and the first thing I say to them is, okay, well, you can't serve yourself. You got to serve others something of value, because that's the way people really get rich. Ideas. TEDster Bill Gates says, "I had an idea." Founding the first microcomputer software company. I'd say it was a pretty good idea. And there's no magic to creativity and coming up with ideas. It's just doing some very simple things. And I give lots of evidence. Persist. Joe Kraus says persistence is the #1 reason for our success. You got to persist through failure. You got to persist through crap, which of course means criticism, rejection, assholes, and pressure. So the answer to this question is simple. Pay $4,000 and come to TED. Or failing that, do the 8 things, and trust me, these are the big 8 things that lead to success. Thank you, TEDsters, for all your interviews.
All right, so let's see what you got. Let's go back to our table. So how many participants did he have? And what was the duration of the study? From 1 week to a lifetime. Oh my God, yes, it could be, of course, years sometimes. So how many years did you guys notice? How many participants? Right, and location, it was actually in the conference, right? TED, US. California. Someone writes California, yes. Okay. Okay, 500 interviews, right? California, TED conference, great. Interviews, right? 7 years. It took him 7 years to collect the data and analyze the data. And you were absolutely right with the number of, you know, various successful people from various professions, right? The first example
Simple
that,
little question. She's a high school student.
the first example that we have here.
It makes me a simple. I'm driven by my.
See, from Chrysler, car designer, right? I'm driven by my passion. Number one thing that leads to success. Actually, our hypothesis was confirmed or refuted. What could you say with regarding passion? Someone actually wrote passion, right? Passion is actually important. Love, right?
Motivation and passion are the same, because if you are self-motivated, it means that you have a passion for this. And it's not only motivation and passion. I have to tell you, because he mentioned 7 years, it's also devotion. Because nothing comes, you know, easily. You should have, because a lot of people, they have at the beginning passion, but in the first difficulty, no resilience, boom, fall. But you know, it's right? Motivation and duration in order to go to success.
Persistence, right? Many of you wrote actually the same thing, right? Hard work, remember hard work. So persistence, again, it just appears on the different, maybe because of the spelling and many times in the different, but you actually definitely we're right. So it's passion and it's persistence. It's
money, Carol. Nothing comes easily.
Hard work, right? And we have all kinds of CEOs.
And can get damn good at
it. The good thing, it's actually something important to be good at what you do, right? What leads to success? Finding that one thing, right? You've got to focus. I don't think you actually mentioned something like that, but passion and hard work, but also focus, right? Focus and become good at what you do. I think good was number 3 in the presentation, right? To be good at what you do, you have to put your nose down something and get damn good at it, right? Like he said. So it's passion, it's hard work. And what else did he mention? Remember, go to the findings and try to put it together. Or since we don't have that much time, I can just go to the last slide and help.
Testers for
cutting this thing. And this is digital literacy. I use a snipping tool. You see, I can cut like this and put it, you know what, I just need to remove this languages off. Now it's nicer. I go to my snipping tool and cut from the screen and paste it into the document. Now we have the results ready. Like this, you see? So we have passion, we have hard work, we have focus. You have to focus on one thing. You have to become good at what you do, right? And then there is push yourself, right? It's 7 years and sometimes it's lifetime. You have to push yourself through many different things, through mentally and physically, and you have to serve people. Right? The main thing is to actually have something bigger in mind, and not only your passion, but also think about people around you and how you serve them. Persistence, right? As you said, and ideas. And the conclusion. What about the conclusion? What would be the conclusion then? So he had 2 conclusions, right? He said, pay $4,000 and come to TED. Or failing that, what is the real conclusion? How can we formulate the conclusion?
What was the name of the person?
And Richard St. John.
So I will say Richard St. John's way or the highway.
Yeah, well, you remember that conclusions usually include recommendations, right? So you should do these things, right? Or don't do. Okay, I see that someone is writing. Don't do it for money, right? Do it for love. This is one of the conclusions for sure. And maybe you should focus and do these 8 things, right? That he mentions. Right? Think about ideas, think about passion, work hard, focus, persist, become good at what you do, serve people.
Identify where are you good. Without that, without this mean, without. Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is focusing. For sure, you need to focus on something where you can become really good at something, right? You cannot be good at everything, for sure. Yeah. And the many different examples that he showed us come from many different people, from actors and actresses and filmmakers and scientists, professors, surgeons, all different areas, mechanics, CEOs, and so on. Of course. Okay, great. So we have tried to follow the steps of the research, right? And if someone noticed the name of the researcher, right? Anonymous Dingo, can you write Richard St. John? That was the name of the researcher from TED 2005.
Elena.
I think it's time to wish everyone a nice evening.
My last advice for the students is don't attach too much to the results. Act without attach too much. Otherwise, it prevents from going on. Okay, act and that's all. Don't get attached too much to your results.
Exactly. Engage, I will say, and this is very Israeli attitude. Engage to the problem and don't go around the problem. Engage.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elena.
Opening your cameras, for being with me in all kinds of questionnaires that I prepared, and I hope to see you next week also. Yeah. We meet every week. We stay together. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you,
we have
Elena.
Pietro now. Pietro is a part of the group now.
Yes.
Wow, great. So from 2 professors, we'll now have 3 professors. You guys are lucky. Thank you.
Bye.
Have a nice day.
Good
Bye-bye.
night. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.